back to Edge Sports Network. We got another interview for you guys today, part of our summer series. We got Solomon Byrd, Wyoming defensive end. Solomon, thanks so much for joining us here on the site today.
No problem.
Great to have you on. Looking forward to this one. I want to start by asking you here, do you kind of recall your first memories of football and how your entire journey got started here?
I actually don't recall what my dad always tells me. But he always tells me that, like, I pretty much begged him to play football like my uncles. But, yeah, that's how I all started from, like, youth football.
Pretty good way to start right there. And I know in those early days of football, did you have any idea of what position you kind of wanted to be, or was it just kind of trying a little bit of everything, seeing what you were best at?
I always wanted to play running back. I always wanted to be like Barry Sanders. And my coaches, I was always the biggest kid. So my first year, I played offensive line. So I actually played center. And then, like, my second and third year, I still played O-line, but then I gradually went to running back. And then they seemed like I was pretty, like, athletic there. So, like, that's where they kept me for most of my Pop Warner career. And then I went ahead and started playing linebacker and stuff in high school. And then eventually my senior year moved over to the end.
Yeah, I know in high school, too, you had a really good high school career, 155 total tackles, 16 sacks, 6 forced fumbles. You get the chance to play D1 football, and I know high school really focuses heavily on kind of that development stage. So going into your freshman year of high school, were there any parts of your game that coming in as a freshman, you really kind of realized that you wanted to work on and get ready for that next level, which would eventually be college?
Well, okay, so yeah, I knew as a freshman I needed to get better at everything. Just like speed, like pretty much everything. Like, cause when you come in, you're really raw. But like for me, my freshman year, I wanted to like kind of change the culture of like P-night football because the year that I came, everything was kind of like whatever, it's just football. Like I really wanted to win games, and then I think that year we had like the best freshman record in like 5 years or something like that. So yeah.
I know, coming out of high school, too, you were recruited by a lot of other schools. Army, Boise State, Fresno State, just to name a few. So, obviously you had that great high school career. You're going to get those looks. But what made you settle on Wyoming and choose to continue your career there?
Wyoming was all in on me. Like, those other schools will hit me up. They'll talk to me. Washington State came the day literally right before signing day, was like, don't sign and stuff. But those schools weren't like all in on me, and Wyoming was. So I think I'm big on loyalty. So if you're loyal to me, I'm loyal to you.
For sure. And can you walk us through the process of like getting college offers here? I know this is something not a lot of people really dive into, but I assume you get interest from the school. They contact you, you visit, and so on. But what did Wyoming kind of do in that recruiting process to set it apart from the other schools?
Okay, so I actually got my first offer from Dixie State, and I was thinking about transferring from my high school to go to another high school to get more exposure because nobody signed straight D1 from my high school. Like, I was the first one, and then my brother Chris was right after me after the next year. But, like, there wasn't much exposure, so I really wanted to transfer. But then, I prayed about it. My mom told me just, hold on, and then God will bless you. I got blessed with the Dixie State offer, and then later on in the season, I actually got the Wyoming offer. But throughout that whole time, a bunch of colleges were, hitting me up and stuff. After I already, like, sent out my film to a bunch of coaches, but then I didn't get really much, like, a response or, like, any real interest. But then, like, once the season, like, went on, then those coaches started hitting me up, and it was just more so, like, okay, like what's real and what's not. Yeah, throughout that whole process, Wyoming, they're really like tough, like hitting me up a lot, coming for like the home visits. Coach Bull, when Coach Bull called me and gave me the offer, he told me that he'll fly me out and he'll come visit me, and all that happened within like in like 2 weeks. So I was like, well, okay, this dude's for real. Like, I never thought that like somebody will stick to their word. Cause like there's a lot of people that say a lot of stuff but don't really like act on it. But like Coach Bo did, so I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. To kind of build that early, like not even at the beginning of your career, before your career starts. So I'm sure when you get to college, that relationship's built, feels like home already. I know when you got to Wyoming, you take the redshirt year, played in just 3 games in 2018. But then you come out this past season, you played in 12 games, 45 tackles, six and a half sacks. It was a stellar official start to your career here. I mean, was your first full season of action what you had kind of expected, or were there any unexpected twists along the way? Because that transition from high school to college can be different for every guy. So what was it kind of like for you?
Here's what I would say. I would say my redshirt freshman year, I was ready to play, but that didn't happen because of partly because I was a little bit immature. But then there's other guys ahead of me that that were just a little better. But you got the next year after my redshirt freshman year, I think I didn't play in the Mizzou game, and then rolls around to Texas State. I was limited because I had like a high ankle sprain. So it was really minor. Like I was ready to play in those games, but my coach just wanted me to be like fully healthy.
Yeah.
But I think I didn't hit the goals I set, but the season was decent. I learned how to like work on my teammates like on the field. But next year it's gonna be crazy because I know a lot more now than I did last year.
For sure. And I mean, going back to kind of what you know now as opposed to last year, I mean, you guys have a great defensive team, great team chemistry. I know, so as one of the younger guys on this team, I mean, what'd you kind of learn from these older guys this past season? How'd they help you kind of get adjusted to college football? I know you said you know a lot more now than you did last year. So how was the team chemistry? How was that experience being kind of a student of these older guys on the team?
It's more so like a little brother type of thing, and not. I mean, it's not like a student type of thing because I'm like learning and soaking everything up, but I'm learning. I was learning more so, making the mistakes or watching them make or just learning from their mistakes prior to. So I think more so in that way. But like on the field, like during the games, like some dudes are like intense, some dudes are like really chill, and just like finding your own self, That's mainly what I've learned.
I mean, that's kind of a great approach to have, especially early on in your career. And you guys, as I said, were fantastic on defense this past season. You guys had a really good year as a defensive unit. I want to ask you a question just about the position itself here. I try with the interviews to just kind of dive into, how it is playing a certain position. So as defensive end, I mean, you got to make a lot of snap decisions. Ball snapped, you have to get through the O-line, whether that be through a lineman, a hole you can find, but you got to decide where you're going in seconds. So, I mean, how do you kind of develop those instincts to effectively read the offensive line, know where to hit the hole, and make those quick decisions in seconds so you can eventually make a play on the ball carrier?
I think it's more repetition and just reading body language, because when you're on the offense, the snap count, you know where you're going, you know how to position yourself before it even happens. You know what I'm saying? Like you could envision yourself doing it before it happens. But on defense, you're more so like reactionary to everything. So it's just like repetition. Like as you do it, then you see how guys like to play and just watch your film and stuff. Just makes you more faster on the field.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you looked really comfortable in year one here. I know, obviously, we talked a little bit about how it's a little bit of adjustment from high school to college. And I mean, you're coming from California, going to Wyoming. How was that adjustment just environment wise? I mean, did it take a while for you to, kind of make Wyoming feel like home, or were you pretty comfortable heading into the school?
Here's what I would say. Like the similarities is that like Palmdale and Wyoming are both like desert cities. It's just Palmdale's more dirt everywhere, and like out here is like more like greenery and like more life and stuff. But besides that, like it's not really similar at all. Like I'm from, the minority is the majority. Like there's a lot of Latinos and African American people like where I'm from. Out here is a lot of Caucasian. But besides that, like culture wise, then no, like the football team, it looks like America. Like there's not really much of a issue there.
Yeah, and I know, like, going to Wyoming, I know it's a great kind of community atmosphere as well. I mean, you played in a bowl game this year. You guys have a home stadium that seats nearly 30,000 people. So I have to ask you, when you're in a bowl game or you're at home playing in front of that many people, what's that atmosphere like on game day? I mean, how was the Wyoming community? How was the fan support that you got to experience?
They like they love football for real.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we're winning, they really love football. But like just to see how many people show up like game after game,
Mm-hmm.
even if one game is less significant to like a fan, if it's just like a regular game, if it's not a season opener or not against Power Five, and they're still there, they're still showing up. They're there for us, and they're not there for like who we're playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like really encouraging to see. But just like somebody like yelling your name is crazy. It's just
Mm-hmm.
like dang, it's real humbling. Like I never thought I'll be this far.
That's kind of the dream right there, just to
Yeah.
have that experience. And I'm sure like the first time you hear your name get yelled in the stadium, it's kind of like, whoa, that's actually me. And then you might kind of get used to it. And I know you got plenty of time here left at Wyoming. So what are some things that you're kind of looking forward to or that you want to accomplish in your remaining years here, at Wyoming?
Oh, okay. So last year, I know that there's a really good pass rusher at Boise State.
Mm-hmm.
His name's Curtis Weaver, and I honestly want to somehow catch his little sack record because he just set a new record for like the most sacks in the Mountain West
Mm-hmm.
with like 30 something or something like that. I just want to catch that really, but then I know with goals like that, other things will follow,
Mm-hmm.
like TFLs or whatever else. I'm not really a big numbers guy. Like every game, I gotta have to get a certain amount of this or that. I just want like a big game type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm not really keeping track of like every number that I put up.
So it's safe to say you're kind of going out there just focusing on things one game at a time.
Yeah, just playing really hard every
Hmm.
play. Just play really hard every play, and something good will happen. As.
I think that that's the best way to do it because if you just focus on one game at a time, you have, let's say, going into a season, first game, you focus on this game, the season opener, have a good game there, build off at the next game, and by the time you're at the end of the season, you'll see that you put together a really, really good season.
Yeah.
So you're off to a good start here. I like to end the interview on a few fun questions and then one that makes you think a little bit. So, first question here for you is, I know you wear number 51. Is there any story behind that, or are you kind of in the process of making the story right here?
So when I came, I wore 92,
Mm-hmm.
and I just like they just gave me the number, right? So I was just like it's not my number. Like it was fine. Like it was a cool number. It just wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
And then um one of the other numbers available was 51. And I was like, that's cool. And I did a little research, and like 51 means like new beginnings and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so like for me, it was grown out of that immature stage into being like a grown man on the field and off the field. So that's pretty much what 51 is. Just like no beginnings, like no change.
I mean, that's perfect timing too, going, into
Yeah.
college now, brand new beginning. So I think 51 suits it well. I didn't know that. Is 51 like a universal thing for new beginnings? I wasn't
I think so.
really.
I just looked it up. I just looked it up. I was like, yeah. I was like, dang, that's crazy that it means that. I was like, that's perfect.
I didn't know that either, so that does match
Yeah.
pretty perfect. I'm surprised not every college freshman coming in is wearing 51 now, but
Yeah.
I guess the more you know right there. But my second question for you, another fun one, is if you could sack any NFL quarterback, past or present, who would it be and why? It's a tough question. Might be a tough one.
I would say for the past, Brett Favre, and then present, probably Josh Allen. But
There we go.
for the for the past, I'll give it to Brett Favre because dude was super elusive and throw the ball in any weird angle. I
Hmm.
remember like just growing up and watching like the Vikings. He used to like backpedal and throw bombs while like the D tackles are chasing him.
Yep.
It was crazy. But then Josh Allen's just a beast in the pocket, like
Hmm.
super hard to take down. So that'll be an achievement in itself.
Oh yeah, Josh Allen. He is on the rise. Can scramble. I mean, he's going to be
Yeah,
real good. I think in these next few years. We'll see what happens up in the
for
AFC
sure.
East. So Pretty good two choices right there. We haven't usually we get Tom Brady. Tom Brady is a response that we always seem to get.
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
I see why people would say Tom Brady because he's a GOAT, but like
mhm.
he's probably not that hard to take down in the pocket.
I don't think so. I don't think so anymore. 43 years old now, I think. So that might be like an elderly crime or something like that. I don't know. You gotta be careful there. Um,
This thing,
I want to ask you here too to close up. I mean, 10 years down the road, 2030, where do you kind of see yourself? I mean, what would be the perfect situation for Solomon Byrd?
in 2030. Oh, I want to be a father by then for sure. You
Mm-hmm.
know, multiple kids, and just I want to be financially free for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever happens with football, like if I'm still playing football, that would be great. If not, I still want to be able to take care of my family, my kids, and my kids' kids. So
Mm-hmm.
whatever I'm doing 10 years from now, I just want to be wealthy.
For sure. I think excellent outlook right there. Just kind of taking it,
Yeah,
day by day, keeping the options open right there, and just
yeah,
setting
for
kind of
sure.
a broad goal. That's definitely achievable. I mean, congrats on this past season that you had with Wyoming. Very successful, and I'm sure you guys are gonna have a real bright future with the team and the defensive unit as a whole. But Solomon Byrd, thanks so much for joining us here on the site today. It was great to talk to you.
You too.
We will put your Twitter down below so people can go give you a follow your career. We'll also put a link to Wyoming's football website so you guys can follow for news and updates. But Solomon Byrd, once again, it was great having him on the site as part of our summer series. And guys, thanks so much for joining us here on Edge Sports Network. It was great having you guys, and we'll see you guys next time.